This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and my first interview in Las Vegas on my next American journey, and I'm delighted to be joined by Stitch Duran out here. Stitch, it's a pleasure to catch up with you, first man I've spoken to. How are you? How are things going?
Oh, I've been doing good, man. Thanks. You know, it's welcome to Vegas in the summertime, bro.
I was going to say, we were just having a conversation. It was hot last time. It's even hotter now, so I don't know how you're doing it, especially wearing jeans.
Yeah. Hey, man, it comes with the territory. You just learn to drink a lot of water, and like I said in joking, you know, the devil goes on vacation in the summers here in Vegas. So it's hot, but it's, you know, it's what we do.
Obviously, Stitch, it's exciting times for yourself. You've got this weekend coming up. Well, I've just bumped into you here at the Salas Boxing Academy, where you'll be working with Yordenis Ugas ahead of his bout with ring legend Manny Pacquiao. Just first and foremost, get your take on this fight. It's obviously come about at short notice because of Errol Spence's unfortunate injury, but just your take on seeing Yordenis for your short time working with him in the gym. How's he looking?
Oh yeah, you know, he always stays in top shape, and I was talking about that yesterday, where, you know, there's no joking around with him. You know, he's here and he's focused, and he stays focused, but, you know, this is the type of fight that will bring him up to the forefront, because one thing you can't beat time. And, you know, a 42-year-old Pacquiao, even though he might look good in the gym, we'll see how the long run goes. So I see Pacquiao having a tough fight in front of him. You know, I see Ugas, I think, you know, is for him to be aggressive and just kind of try to wear that age, you know, that age down.
You mentioned for Ugas he needs to be aggressive. Is that the key to victory for Yordenis? If he is to be successful, he needs to come forward, he needs to be putting it on Manny?
Yeah, I think so. You know, definitely, you know, you got to sell yourself to the judges, number one. You know, you look at two factors. You know, is it going to go the distance? If it goes the distance, who's going to win on the points, right? If it goes a knockout, who has the knockout potential? They both have the knockout potential, you know, so it's a pick and fight, bro.
I mean, you say it's a pick and fight. Certainly back in the UK, a lot of people are giving Yordenis Ugas a very good chance, with the biggest factor being Manny Pacquiao's age and the lack of activity at this stage of his career. Yordenis wins, how big of a win would that be for him?
You know, it'd be real big, but like I was just telling him right now as we were leaving that, you know, I'm so proud to be working with him because of what's going on in Cuba. You know, and he's a big face of, I don't know if you want to call it the rebellion, but he's the face of supporting what's going on with the unfair practices in Cuba. Like I told him, I think God brought you up to the forefront in this fight at the last minute to you represent what's going on. But I think win or lose, it's going to be big for him, you know, because if he loses to Manny Pacquiao, so have many. You know, but I expect a great fight where the respectability is only going to grow for Ugas.
I haven't had any interactions with Yordenis yet. I've just briefly said hello to him in there. You've said to me before, one of the key things for you with working with fighters now is the personalities, how well you guys click and the relationships you can build. From, again, your time working with Yordenis, what kind of impressions do you take from him?
Yeah, you know, a super guy, man. What you see is what you get. You know, he's very quiet, very humble. He's a fighter. You know, he's born to fight and just a likable guy. And yeah, you know, we're talking, I've done hundreds and hundreds of world title fights, and it's not about the fights anymore, the title fights. It's about the characters that I work with. And Ugas and Salas, they're top of the line, man. You know, we've been friends outside of the ring. We're just friends anyway.
Now, I know this past weekend you was also working with Mr. Maloney, amongst others, on the Top Rank show. He unfortunately fell short in his bout with Joshua Franco, lost by unanimous decision. Just firstly, go back to that before we come on to some other topics. What did you make of his fight, his performance in that defeat?
Yeah, you know, I think he probably would have tell you that he could have been a little bit more aggressive, and, you know, the timing just wasn't as good as it was in the last fight. I worked with his brother Jason also, and he won his fight. So, you know, good kids. As I say, these are the kind of kids that I like working with that makes my job so pleasurable. So, you know, we'll see. You know, I think he'll do good and continue to do good in the future.
And again, just something we spoke about briefly off camera, Tyson Fury, he's got his own, you know, his daughter unfortunately was early in hospital. Best wishes to her and the family, and hopefully we see her out and fit and healthy soon. But just kind of your take on how things currently stand with the Deontay Wilder trilogy bout now taking place in October on the 9th. There was a COVID outbreak which pushed that fight back. Just going back to that, because we haven't had a chance to speak since then, Stitch, just your kind of take on hearing about that COVID outbreak first and foremost, which postponed the original July 24th bout.
Yeah, well, you know, that's like the third show that's been postponed for me. You know, Teofimo Lopez when he was going to fight, and then he was supposed to fight again August 14th, and then Tyson Fury. But, you know, that goes with the territory, man. You know, I always prepare for the worst case scenario, and this seemed to be the worst case scenario. And then to get a call from Ugas, it's the best case scenario. So things always balance out. But, I think Tyson, number one, I always say is take care of your family first. Family comes first before anything. And, I wish him and his daughter and his wife, Paris, all the best in their new added family members. So I think he'll be good. I think, when he comes back to the States, from what I understand, he might be training up in the UK, which he always does anyway. And then he'll finish up training here. Well, fine with me. Love working with this guy, man. The whole team, like I say, it's fun to be with him. And that's not even a job, it's an adventure.
I mean, Stitch, you're pretty much at a show every weekend if you're not occupied elsewhere. You've got a growing kind of TV, movie fame coming with your celebrity status now, shall we say. But before we do come on to that, when you do get cancelled shows and what have you, do you enjoy maybe a weekend to yourself, or are you just wishing to be in the ring helping somebody out?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I always enjoy the weekends. Basically, I do nothing. I'm kind of a slug. My wife says, do something. Well, now I'm painting the restrooms, right? It's the third restroom that I finished painting today or yesterday. And but yeah, I like spending time with my family. And that now that, as we're getting older and this pandemic kicked in and, I'm almost 70 years old. And, I told my wife, we have to now, everything that we benefited in this, now we got to start enjoying life. So I think I'm going to take her traveling with me a little bit more to the fights and what have you not. So enjoying life now. Now, I've done what I had to do. I'm blessed with what I've done. Now I got to go and enjoy it with my wife.
Stitch, let's move forward and talk about something we spoke about in there. Your next outing in the movie world. You said to me I was the first person you told, so I'll allow you to tell the viewers of Boxing Social what that news was.
All right, well, there's a couple, actually. I wrote a book years ago called From the Fields to the Garden. Growing up as a farm worker, I was the fields, and my goal was to make it to Madison Square Garden. I think we've talked about this before, but when I signed, Triple G fought at the Garden, so we got that footage, and then this pandemic kicked in. So now we're filming again. They interviewed Tyson Fury before he went back home, but these last 3 days I went back to my hometown, and we got some additional footage, and they interviewed UFC fighter Cain Velasquez and Javier Mendez, the coach, and Virgil Hunter, and we were going to get Andre, but Andre had some commitments, and then went back home. So that's coming up, when hopefully we'll be done by the end of June, the end of the year. From the Fields to the Garden, it's based off the book. But I'll give you the news. Only because you're a good guy, bro, and you came all the way from the UK. But I got a call day before yesterday from the casting for Creed 3. And now they're going to be contacting me with the details and all that. But from what I understand, they're looking like at January somewhere in Atlanta. But, let me, a little side note to that. I was just kind of hoping they would happen. But when I did Creed 2 with Michael B. Jordan, I spent 6 weeks with him every day wrapping his hands. And I told him how proud I was of him. And he looks at me and says, Stitch, we went from being actors to writers, producers, and directors, and we're same distance. He says, I'm directing Creed 3, and you're with me as long as you want. So he stuck to his word, and what makes this special, this third one special, is not because it's, I'm in movies, but it's because what Mick was to Rocky, Stitch is to Adonis. So I'm the new version of that, and I'm glad to have been the one to represent the cutman for the movie Adonis.
I mean, Stitch, without getting yourself into any trouble, do you know of any details for the movie you can let us in on yet?
That I can't give. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, and I don't care. Just like fights, I don't care what weight. I don't care this. A fight is a fight. A hand is a hand to wrap, and a face is a face. And same thing with the movie. Whatever they throw at me, I'll be glad to be it. I'm just happy to be in Creed 3, bro.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you back on the movie screens when that does come out. But just before I let you go, next weekend we see Jake Paul return to the ring against Tyron Woodley. Will you be out there covering any fighters, working with any fighters on that card?
No, not at all. It's surprisingly enough, but not to say I won't be there, because I always get, like with Ugas, I always get these last-minute calls, right? So I always keep my phone open, but we'll see what happens. Jake Paul's a good kid. I got to give him credit. He's done tremendous things, and, he's bringing up unfair practices for the UFC and, kind of being the spokesperson that other people can't speak up. And so got to great credit. But on the marketing aspect, what he's doing is a tremendous piece of art.
I mean, you obviously cornered AnEsonGib when he fought Jake Paul. What do you make of him facing somebody like Tyron Woodley this time around?
Yeah, and AnEsonGib, I gotta love that kid, man. He just, he showed the heart of the warrior. He just wasn't the, the KSI type of athlete, but he showed the heart of the warrior, and for that I respect him. But nah, you know, Jake Paul he's an athlete. I knew he was an athlete when I first met him, when he said he was a wrestler. But that fight with Tyrone Wood is going to be a tough fight. You know, Tyrone's a fighter that's been in the trenches many, many times at the high level. So I don't expect it to be as easy as Ben Askren.
I mean, we obviously saw AnEsonGib return to the ring on that YouTubers versus TikTok card, TikTokers card rather. We know KSI has spoken about returning as well. What do you think it is that we're seeing those media stars wanting to come into the world of boxing? Do you think it's just they've got a taste of that infectious sport themselves and we just can't quite let go of it now?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. The money's good, you know, but the excitement of being in a thriller like this, you know, where the ultimate goal of a fighter is to render his opponent unconscious, you know, so these guys have that. And give them credit, man, because win or lose, if you come into the ring and you perform as a fighter, brother, you're a gladiator. You know, you deserve that title, win or lose.
I know you're not working on that card next week. I'm just thought Tommy Fury's fighting on the undercard. Do you think there's a chance that obviously Tyson might have a word? You might link up with Tommy?
You know, I don't know. You know, that's always open. It was funny because when Billy Joe Saunders fought Canelo, right? I'm talking to Tyson. He said, man, you had to call Billy Joe Saunders and ask him if he needs a cutman. I said, nah, you know, I never asked for a job. So he called him, you know, and he's next to me. He said, hey, Billy, I got Stitch, you're the greatest cutman in the world, man. If you need a cutman, let me know, and this and that. But no, I don't, you know, it'd be nice, you know, just to keep it in the family. And Tyson knows the caliber of work that I do. But, you know, I don't know what the circumstances are, but I'm always game, you know. So, and like I say, to me, it's not even a fight, it's an adventure.
All right, Stitch, I know I caught you as you was just about to leave, so I appreciate you stopping, giving me 10 minutes of your time. It is now very, very hot and I'm sweating here, so I'll go back inside, try and cool down. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time as always, Stitch. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
No, thanks for coming and hitting me up, and good seeing you. But drink a lot of water while you're here.
I will do, Stitch. Thank you.
All right, God bless. Huh?